Ooh.
All right, everybody, welcome to what we are calling the Licensing Playbook Live. Today's topic is how to help make your licensed product thrive. That sounds good, right? How to help make your licensed product thrive. We are streaming every Wednesday at 5 Pacific, 6 Mountain, 7 Central, and 8 Eastern, because yes, there's this thing called time zones. My name is Andrew Krause. I co-founded InventRight with Stephen Key over 25 years ago to help inventors. Stephen, wave your hand there. He's in the white shirt, the very handsome guy with the cool hair. So this weekly webinar is your go-to guide for learning how to license your product ideas to companies that are actively looking for innovation. And you'd be surprised over the years, companies are more and more every year open to looking at products from the outside, which is great for you creative folks. So each week we'll break down real world strategies and exact steps you need to take to get in the front door of companies. You'll learn how to pitch with confidence, avoid common mistakes, and dramatically increase your chances of landing a licensing deal. Thanks for joining us. Feel free to ask your questions in the chat box digitally by raising your hand here on Zoom. And if you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, we're streaming to all those platforms right now. You can simply type your questions into the chat. Dana's here with us today. Dana, raise your hand. And then Chad as well. Chad, raise your hand. So Chad and Dana are Dana's our outreach manager, and Chad's part of the outreach team, and that will reach out to companies to pitch your product on your behalf. So they're going to contribute to the conversation in addition to Steve and myself as the co-founders. And today's topic is how to make your licensed product thrive. Your royalty checks are directly tied to your licensee's success. So why wouldn't you help them sell more? Like, why not? Right? So this is something that maybe many of you probably haven't thought was possible. I know this is one of Steven's favorite topics. He loves talking about this. Your royalty checks are directly tied to their success, so help them out. Discover the small strategic moves you can make to boost your licensees' sales. We'll discuss how to support them respectfully, keep your product on the top of the mind of their customers, and the types of other types of efforts you can make that will pay off months or years later. Some companies are open to this, some are not. I'm sure we'll get into this. Stephen, I know you love this topic. It's a topic that a lot of people don't talk about with regards to licensing. That's probably another reason why you love doing it, because you like doing things nobody else does, like everybody else here, right?
Mhm.
So, Stephen, take it away.
Well, thank you so much, Andrew, and welcome everybody. Yeah, you're right, Andrew. I love this topic because I don't think we think enough about how we can help them sell more products. I mean, sometimes you think you're going to hand it off to a company and checks are magically just going to appear in the mailbox. That's what we want to happen. But you have to realize that some of these companies are not good at marketing. And guess what? You can be great at marketing because you have a story to tell. You see, when a company takes a product on, I'm sure you're going to be one product among many products that they're carrying. So, how do you get your product to have attention? How do you make it so your product is on their radar to keep pushing it out further because you're making sales? So, I think you can help. In fact, I think you can do more than help. In fact, I think you're newsworthy. You see, when a company takes your product on, how does it market your product? Well, number one, do they have the time? Do they have the budget? Are they really going to help? One of the biggest complaints I always hear, hey, I licensed my idea to a company and they're not doing enough. Yeah, of course they're not doing enough because they've got all these other things to do. So I would like to look at it this way. Your job is to come up with the idea. Now you have a company that's going to distribute your idea. They're going to manufacture it and they're going to distribute it. That's the way I look at it. And you can help them do the marketing because you have a story to tell. You see, your story is newsworthy. And you have to start, I would say, local by learning how to get to the press, learn how to get on podcasts, radio shows, how to do the local angle of, hey, you've got a new product, you're an inventor, it's an interesting story. Why don't you write about it? And you'd
Mhm.
be surprised because your local town wants to tell stories about local people. They want to hear it. They want to hear how you made it. They want to hear your struggles. They want to hear your journey. They want to share it with their audience. So why not tell that story? And why not start to think about that story and practice? So you start local, you go regional, you go by state, and then you go national by telling your story. You see, you can tell the story. The company's not going to tell your story. They're going to ask the company to take an ad out, pay for it. That's what they're going to say. But no, you can sell more product by doing some of the marketing, by being that person that's going to help them get exposure. There it is, exposure, eyeballs. Now, a lot of you are thinking, well, geez, eyeballs, what do you mean? I'm just this one person. Well, you have more power than you think. And your story, the media is looking for your story. They want your story. They want to share it with their audience, and you want to tell that story too.
Yeah, and don't they love the word inventor, Stephen? The media loves the word inventor.
They do. They do. And some media outlets are looking for things that are new. Good Morning America. There's tons of these companies that are looking for something that their audience is going to love. They're looking for your story. So I think I like these companies today to do the distribution, sales, and the manufacturing, all the stuff I don't really want to do, but I want to do the fun stuff. I want to do the creating stuff. I want to do the stuff that's really fun. I want to share my story with others. Now, I know a lot of us are probably going to be a little shy to tell that story, and it takes a little bit of practice, but I do know one thing. And Andrew probably knows this too. I'm really a pretty shy guy, but when it comes to products, I come alive.
And later, if you're open to it, I want you to tell the San Francisco Channel 2 story. That would be fun.
That's a terrible story, but
Okay, we don't have to tell.
such
Now we definitely got it.
I
that's
got
such
the dirt.
it's such an
Now we want to hear it
embarrassing.
for sure.
It's embarrassing, you guys, but I will tell that story. So what I'm saying is, you have to start building an audience now. Eyeballs. Well, how do you do that? Well, you do it on LinkedIn. One way you do it, connect with Andrew and I on LinkedIn. My 20,000 friends are now going to be yours. You also do it by helping other inventors that are on your journey, other inventors that are launching a product, help them sell their product. So when it's your turn, they're going to help you. If you ask them later and haven't shown how you helped them, why would they help you? Doesn't make
A
sense.
story about that from a couple weeks ago, I want to share with you at some point, Stephen.
Go ahead, share, Chad.
No, so Claudia had her 20th class reunion, as it would have been last weekend. So the week before that, they had a post that they put on Facebook that they were getting ready, and it was some in reference to some movie. And the guy that was running it, he said, "Anybody invent anything cool in the last 20 years?" And somebody had a just totally fluke thing, and some guy had a comment on there. He said, "Yeah, well, I had a couple of ideas, but they never, came of anything and came to fruition and all that." And so Claudia posted underneath it there. She said, "My husband and I developed this fire starter and licensed it, and now we help people license their products." And she told that guy, she said, "So if you need any help getting your product off the ground, give us a call." You never know. I mean, everybody's got some idea or story that they never got off of there, and just like you said, just putting it out, even locally, you never know where that might go.
Yeah, our goal at years ago when I was speaking with Benjamin Harrison about LinkedIn, the goal was to connect with everyone. Why? To build an army to help each other. That's what it was. It was an army to celebrate you and your success. It was a creating an army so when your product launched, we all knew about it and we could support you.
Mhm.
And we could also, if a company was doing something wrong, we could shame them. That's why we created this whole platform on LinkedIn. It was all about creating an army of like-minded people that had the same mission and same goals. Because when you think about if I have 20,000 friends and you have 10,000 friends and someone else has 10,000 friends, you can get to 1 million people pretty fast.
Yeah, and Stephen, I don't think inventors gather enough. I don't think they help each other out enough. It's a lot of flying solo. Most inventor groups these days are dead. There's a few left, but not many. So it's really important that we support each other. And I just like that we're bringing up this topic, the concept that yes, a percentage of companies are going to be open to you doing publicity because you're an inventor, you're interesting, and they're just schlocking a product. And you're schlocking the product too, but you have a story, so you're making news because you're an inventor. So not all of you, we know, not 100% of you are up for this, but if you didn't know it was an option, and you didn't ask the company, and maybe you're willing to get out of your shell. You know, Stephen and I, when we first started, I don't know, we started inventRight 26 years ago, but we were doing it even before that, Stephen. We were both kind of shy. We were both, and we learned to get out in front of folks. So, if you could do some public speaking, if you can do some different stuff, when the time comes and you license your product, you're like, yeah, I'll do some interviews and stuff for my product. I'll go out there, like it's fun.
Yeah, you have to start somewhere. And I'll tell a story about how I started. I was with Andrew, and we were at this event that Tim Ferriss was putting on. And I was on a panel with some pretty amazing people. I think the guy that did the Cliff Bar and a bunch of amazing people. And I didn't really say too much, but someone heard my story in the crowd and said, how would you like to be on Channel 3? What is it, Jack London Square?
There's channel. Is it channel two? It doesn't matter.
Some channel.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was like national news or regional news, but it was a big deal. And of course, I said, of course. And because I looked the part, I had a nice jacket on. I looked like I knew what I was talking about. I clearly had never done any media before. I said, sure. He says, well, how about tonight? I said, what do you mean tonight? Yeah, get in the car, drive on up there, and we'll do it now. And I told Andrew, and Andrew said, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
So I get in the car and I start driving. I call my wife, Janice, and I said, hey, Jan, I'm going to be on Channel 2, Jack London Square. And she goes, you, for what?
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to do an interview. She goes, you're going to be horrible.
That's supportive.
I thought, what is she talking about? I'm going to kill this thing. But she knew something I didn't realize. It takes a little practice. So sure enough, I get up there and I've got my nice blazer on, double-breasted. I'm looking like I know what I'm doing. And I get behind, they set up the camera and they have me look into this little black box.
And I'm in the control room,
Mhm.
and he looks like a deer caught in the headlights. I was like, oh.
So they said, talking to the black box. I can't see anybody. I
That's
can
so
hear
weird.
someone. I'm thinking, I'm looking around going, what's going on? They just thought I knew what I was doing. Well, I was terrible. And I remember after I was done, I said, Andrew, how did I do it? He said, oh, you did great. Andrew lied to me.
I did.
He lied to me. So I'm driving home. I get home and my phone's ringing because all the local people saw it. And one person said, Steve, it was horrible. And I said, yeah, I didn't, I froze. So they said to me, why don't we start local? And so the person helped me get on a couple radio stations. And before you know it, I started getting a little bit better in front of the camera. So you have to start somewhere, but don't do what I do. Don't just wait for that opportunity to happen. The next thing you know, you're not prepared for it. You have to be camera ready. And that starts really early on. So, but the point I'm trying to make is when Andrew said there was a time where we weren't quite sure companies wanted you to do what we're talking about. They wanted to control it because there wasn't TikTok or YouTube and there wasn't LinkedIn. There wasn't all these things. They didn't exist. So they wanted to control the messaging, but now there's no control of the messaging. Now they're looking for you to have eyeballs. If you start to build an audience, and I know this too, whenever you build an audience and a licensee knows you have an audience, you have more value now because you can get to more people.
Yeah, you
See,
shouldn't underestimate what you bring to the table for your licensee. I mean, it can come organic or it can come naturally. When I was signed for my fire starting tool, They struggled with some sales. They had put somebody in there that didn't really fully know the outdoor industry. They had like a three company thing going on, and a lot of it was home products. Well, they didn't have a sales rep that really knew the outdoor, the outdoor scene, how to pitch it, the terminology to use. So it got to a point where I actually signed a deal with my licensee separate than my licensing agreement for essentially I was a sales representative for them, and I went out and on top of my royalty rate, I got another 10% in commission on top of any doors that I open for them. Well, I'm a professional at kicking doors open. That's what I do every day for inventRight. So I was happy to take that on. And the amount of stuff that you learn, that's a whole nother level of licensing, that you're going to learn. You'll learn what it's like to talk to marketing people versus buyers at a company. And let me tell you what, that's totally different. I've found that buyers don't want to talk to you. It was way harder to get in with buyers than it was to find out if a company was open to products. So there's just these little nuances that I learned through doing that whole side of it.
What's really incredible, the power to get to the media. Your licensee will look at you very differently, right? You have more value if you can get to the media because they don't know how to get to the media. And I knew this. I had licensed a product to a company called Rexall Sundown, and I got it into the doctors, a TV show with the doctors. And it was weight-based dosing. And I got to the producer, I sent it to them, and they did a segment. And they showed the product, how it worked. It was how much, what did that worth? In fact, I remember when I got it on the show, they were so proud. They looked at me as a team member.
Mm-hmm.
They looked at me not just someone that had an idea, but someone that could add more value.
Mm-hmm.
So you have more power, you have more influence, you have more, you can do more today than you ever could do just by having a presence. Now you have to start somewhere. It could be TikTok, it could be YouTube. On our YouTube channel now, we ask inventors if they have a product that we can promote. You know that now. Why do we do that? Well, we do that for a couple of reasons. I want to hear the story so I can share it. But I also want them to sell more product because we have 80,000 subscribers. We get over 2,000 views a day. So it's all about eyeballs. I remember when I wrote One Simple Idea, the only reason why McGraw-Hill was excited about it is that we had eyeballs. So you can do this. It does take some time. It takes some effort, but the payoff is huge. So how do you help your licensees sell more product? By sharing your story for people to know who you are to purchase it.
Can we talk about that for a second, Stephen? So a common mistake, and there's I don't know their name, it just says the Wreath machine, but it says, I've tried to reach out to the media. It's been a little hard, even for my wreath lock. So let's talk about mistakes. Some people think that you're on there to create an ad. You're not. You're on there to tell a story. You're on there to be entertainment. That's what you're on there for. So yes, you're talking about your product within the story. It's not an advertisement. You need to know what that TV show needs. Every TV show, every radio show, every newspaper wants something different. What does that audience for that show or that article want? And you need to give them the story, not the product. The product is within the story, but you're giving them the
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, let's
Because
talk about that.
you're not the company. You're the bridge between that company and the everyday public. You're the interesting thing that shows them, hey, I could do that. That you're not some big company. You're just an everyday person like they are.
The best way to do that, whatever media you want to go after, watch the person that is telling stories that you think your product would be interesting to. So you target the writer or the producer that's providing content to an audience to tell your type of story. Because all writers do different types of stories. Yours is more of a human interest story. It could be something that's timing. Your newspaper has certain writers that do business. Maybe you've got a business angle to it. Maybe you have a product that's going to help people do something. So look at your angle and pitch your angle to certain writers that are writing about those stories. And I'll give you a good example. I wanted to be on the Donnie Deutsch show. It was called Big Idea with Donnie Deutsch. I loved that. And I wanted to write about it. And I wanted to tell a story about how I got on the Donnie Deutsch show. So I started writing about it for All Business, that I was going to get on the Donnie Deutsch show, and I'm going to show you how to get on it. So I watched the show over and over again, and I looked for certain angles that Andrew talked about, certain things they were talking about. So sure enough, I slowed down. When it came on, I slowed it down. I got the executive producer's name. I got the name now. And I want to tell a story, let's say, about taking a small idea and going big or whatever it was. I looked at it. So I put all my guitar picks at the time and I put them in an envelope. So when they ripped it open, it was just all going to fall out to make a big impression. Sure enough, I sent it to that one person and I got a call. And they said, hey, this is the executive producer of the Donnie Deutsch show. We got your guitar picks. We want to tell your story. So I told the story and she said, well, we're not really looking for that story. Do you have a down and out story?
They always did the down and out stories.
And I said, of course I do. I'm an entrepreneur. So she goes, tell me your down and out story. So I told the story and she says, okay, we're going to call you back. I'm going to bring another person on, repeat the same story. I'm going to bring someone else on. So sure enough, I got a call 10 minutes later. I gave the same pitch. A person said, can you come out next week to New York? We'd like to tell that down and out story. I said, I will be there. And I remember flying out there. I took James with me. We went out to New York. They put me up in a hotel. A limo came the next day. I went out and I'm in the green room with James. And the guy before me was the sleep number bed. I am out of my mind being nervous. I was so nervous about it. James was there. And sure enough, they called me up. It was my turn to do the thing with Donnie Deutsch. I get there and it's this crystal ball spinning around and there's disco music. And I'm thinking, this is the craziest thing I ever heard. I sit down and it's my turn. I start to talk with Donnie. I started kissing his ass. And I said, yeah, I'm really sorry. I'm kissing your ass. He goes, hey, trust me, it never gets old. Keep it coming.
Okay.
So next thing you know, we shoot the segment. We're done. I take a picture with Donnie. I get in the limo. It starts to snow. The twilight of the evening, I go back to the hotel. It was fantastic.
That's
3
awesome.
weeks later, I'm sitting on the couch because they told me they're going to air the segment. I'm on the couch with my kids and my wife, and I said, hey, I'm going to be on national TV on the Donnie Deutsch show. I'm on the show, and they're talking about this down and out, how he came back from this and did this and this. And my kids look over at me and at my wife, Janet, says, when were we down and out? Point of the story is you pitch it to what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have another story that's in the same vein. I ran an inventors association in Silicon Valley for 14 years, and we had this inventor that spoke to us a couple times. His name was Colin Roche, and he had a pen. Instead of a normal pen, it had a wishbone design. And he was determined to get into the Wall Street Journal. I think for 2.5 years, he tried to get in the Wall Street Journal. He pitched every angle, like every 3 weeks, he pitched a different angle. And it paid off like nobody ever expected. He got the first, I think it was the first, don't quote me on that, or an extremely rare full color, Wall Street Journal doesn't do full color, spread, full page, full color article about his pen again. But he was trying for 2.5 years, like every 3 weeks he'd pitch, he'd see what they did, he'd pitch them new stuff. He just didn't give up. He wanted to get in the Wall Street Journal. He got a freaking color spread. So it's not always easy. Now, Stephen will tell you, for a while there, he was practicing. He was getting on the local TV station where he lived at the time in Modesto, like freaking every other week. He's like, it got to the point where he's like, nah, I don't know if I'm going to go this week. It was crazy.
They had asked me, the woman, Jennifer Smith, said, Steve, if you have any story, you're always welcome to come on. Because she knew it was all about entertainment. And she knew I was good at sound bites. I couldn't go long. My content was not that strong, but I could deliver sound bites, and it was perfect for her station. So it does take practice, because I'll tell you, I was terrible, but I got a little bit better at it. But the point of all of this, if you want to sell more product, you need more product to know about it. Do not wait to get to Walmart and no one knows your product. And I'm going to tell that story now. And I've seen this happen twice. You work really hard, and one day you get the big break and you're in Walmart. And you're thinking that just because it's on the shelf, people are going to buy it. It doesn't work that way. You have to create demand. You have to create awareness. And I've seen two products now where they got it to Walmart and the sales don't happen. Now, how would you like to work that hard and spend that much money and realize you didn't do the foundation of creating demand? You got great distribution, you got a great product, you've spent $1 million, everything's right, but no one knows your product. So your job is to educate the public on who you are and your product. And you can do that with all the other places that do it today. Podcasts, TikTok, I don't care what it is. Some people are doing so well on TikTok that they create this audience that it helps the licensee see it just because you have a built-in audience. So you have to start today. And the best way to start is to help other inventors. Make them your friends. Help them do well. Invest in them, because they will know that you're helping them. And I'll tell you, there's someone right now you can help today, and that's Rick Kellogg, Kellow, with the Great Plate. Find him. He's in Walmart. He needs your help. He needs an audience. You can find him now, and you can comment, and you can share it. You guys, that's my opinion, how we help each other. Don't wait until you're ready and you're ready to go and you haven't helped others, because then when you ask, they're not going to help you. So you have to get out ahead of it, right? You have to be part of the conversation. You have to be part of it. And I'll give you another example. April Mitchell. How many people know April Mitchell? She's amazing. She does such a great job making connections. Everybody in the industry knows who she is. She's a shining star.
She's like I was gonna say she's like a star.
Yeah, she got Toy Innovator of the Year because she created an audience. So when her products launch, they know who she is, and the companies know who she is, and they know she has an audience. So when they look at her product, she checks another box. She checks another box. So that's how you get in the game, and that's how you guarantee your licensee sees the value you have. But you have to start today, and you have to keep at it and have some practice at it and have some fun, and just recognize, there's going to be a few bumps along the way. So make sure you connect with every fellow inventor, help them be successful, especially when they get it on the store shelf. That's when they need you the most. Yeah.
Stephen, the person that has the wreath that's watching on YouTube right now said, "Thank you. I do add my personal story to it. Female, veteran, cancer survivor." So everybody has their story, but you need to look at the platform and what story do they need? What's the angle for it? And there might be different angles for those things, but that's great that he or she's doing that. This is from Ed in the Zoom chat, which I thought was very wise thing to say. It was a quote, I think, from a gentleman, and he said, "In the future, every company will be a media company." And this is by somebody on LinkedIn, Tom Foremski. Look him up on LinkedIn. They said, "In the future, every company will be a media company." I don't know, but it's an interesting comment.
I think so. I think you have to be today. But you can. You have a voice. You have a story. You're newsworthy. You do things company can't even do. and you have time. So you're not just an inventor, anybody. You're an inventor, yes. Come up with new products, yeah, reach out to companies, yeah, but you're also now a marketing person. You have to be. And it's really easy. You start slow, start small, find your voice, talk about it, show the passion. Because if you're not enthusiastic about it, no one else will be.
Well, and I think by what some people are saying here, commenting on other people's posts, supporting them, it's a good warm up for yourself too, to start supporting people, pitching something. Oh yeah, I think this product's great because of this or this. And when you help other people, it's amazing how much it brings to you yourself as well. And it might get you more excited about working on your products, and you feel a little less alone when you help other people and other people appreciate your help. So, do it to help, but realize it's going to help you too. It always is.
Always.
I mean, I know Stephen have had that experience over the last 26 years. The more we help, the more people appreciate us, and it pays back tenfold. And there's more to life than just money. You don't want to just get praise and make friends and stuff. You need to make money, but there's more to life than just money. It really is.
What's really
Drew, I'd
interesting,
like to touch on, sorry, I was just gonna say, I'd like to touch on like when it actually comes down to time to actually ask your licensee about that. That can be kind of intimidating to, ask them if there's, anything that you can do to help out with that. Certain companies look at that differently. Some people you'll sign a licensing agreement and they won't want you to have anything to do with it. They'll completely take it. I was fortunate that my licensee was open to having me help and reach out in that way. And then when I reached out to them, I was surprised how open they actually were to it. I didn't want to come at them from an angle like, oh, well, you guys aren't doing well enough. Is there, let me do it, kind of like that. But I think that they understood the position they were in, and they saw value in having someone who knew that product and knew that industry to reach out, because nobody knows your product better than you. Nobody's going to wake up in the morning and want to do better for your product than you are. So who better to speak for it, I guess.
you could also do it and invite them to do the interview.
Because I brought to them a list. They were kind of older style as far as their marketing scheme, and I brought in a whole list of social media and like influencers, to reach out to. Hey, if we, sent you a sample of this product, would you review it on your channel? And some of these channels have 900,000, a million viewers, and you know, you get into those top tier people, some of them actually want you to pay them in order to review your product. Stay away from that. That's not what you're looking for, because how you can't really gauge how effective that'll be. But there's plenty of people, if you approach the right channels that deal with products in your industry, that would love to review it, and
Yeah,
it's
I,
great
I would
publicity.
avoid the pay and play.
Yeah, don't do that.
No, I don't think you need that. Have something organic. And
For
I
sure.
think it works. Like I said, we do that now at our YouTube channel. We're welcome. If you look at a lot of the videos we're doing recently for the last 6 or 8 months, it's interviewing people that have a product to help them sell more.
Mhm.
Stephen, the person with the wreath just typed in, this is Maria. Stephen interviewed me a few weeks ago. It was Maria with the wreath.
I
Yeah.
remember that product.
Pretty,
Yeah,
pretty.
because I want to sell more. Because this is what happens. You guys, you have to realize we're all in the same boat.
Mhm.
We are. And I've got a project that's coming up soon, and I'm going to count on all you guys to push it out for me.
A lot of you guys follow InventRight. Is anybody else, just curious in the audience, does everybody follow InventRight so much? It's almost like a little cult following that you just assume that everybody is licensing or developing products. I mean, that's where it's at with InventRight. There's so many people that follow InventRight and the channels and stuff like that, I mean, just the community is huge. You know what I mean? I had no idea when I came around InventRight that many people even realized that
And
licensing.
no, we're not. And even though Chad says we're a cult, we're not going to ask you to drink any Kool-Aid. Don't worry
I
about
might.
it. It's
I
okay.
don't.
It's a safe
Speak for
place.
yourself. I'll ask.
No, I think we're all going to get our time. I think you are. If you stay in this game long enough, your time will come, and you want everybody to support you. and I want everybody to support me. And so we have to work together. That's why our LinkedIn campaign was to build the audience. And I don't think I've ever really told people that reason why. Because imagine if we had that big of an audience, we can move a needle, right? I mean, think about it. If you can get all these people connected when someone launches and we all are talking about it, sharing it, educating about it, we have we have we have power. So I think it's doable today. And I didn't think it was doable before, but it's doable today. But it takes a little bit of work, and that's why I'm really glad we're all here trying to help each other with their mission.
Richard had a good question slash comment. He said, "I've seen a few open box videos on YouTube. Are those something to get into?" I'm personally I'm a bit of a YouTube addict. I'm gonna confess here. I watch a lot of YouTube. And I watch a fair amount of YouTubers that will review products, say, I'm not getting endorsed, nobody's paid me for this, but I wanted my audience to know about it. So as an inventor, if you wanted to reach out to YouTubers or others that were endorsing products, not endorsing, that's not the word. They're reviewing products. Now, that could go south,
Right.
right? Right? So and the company could get mad. But if the company was open to it and you looked at them, and like if you look at a particular YouTuber's reviews for products and you never see them do a negative one, well, then it's pretty safe. If they don't like the product, they're probably not going to put it on their show. That's not their style, right? But if you see them do like half of them are negative, half of them are good, okay, it's a little
They're
risky,
kind of
but
rolling
they're
the dice on that.
that's
Because
a
I
little
wouldn't
risky.
even, my attitude is this, and Andrew's right. They're called product reveals, right? Product, and
Mhm.
if you think it's right, send them. And I'll tell you, and make sure your product is good.
Well, and also I would say so like I only had like a certain number of samples once I signed that deal for the sales rep that they gave me to kind of reach out and cultivate interest. I would suggest I was very conservative on who I sent those to. Like I had one retailer that didn't really think that it was going to be a good fit for them, but wanted me to send him one anyway. No, man, I got 20 of them. I want to send those to the people that are going to be the most bang for my buck. I don't want to send that to someone that has a YouTube channel with 1,000 subscribers. I don't know how many people are, getting samples from their licensee, but I saw those as wanting to use those wisely, I guess.
Well, whatever your budget requires, but the point is, spread the news.
Yeah, Amy writes in, and this is a valid point. And so she says, I'm all for being, or I'm not sure if this is male or female, but I'm all for being on social media and telling your story. But I sure hope that licensees aren't relying on me for their sales. I'll always be an inventor slash product developer, never a salesperson. That's why I'm drawn to licensing versus venturing. So that's perfectly fine. And no, you're not going to license to a company. Whole point is they have the money, the workers, and the distribution, right? But we're
That can
saying, and
happen.
this is a webinar that most people that are doing licensing don't discuss. And I know it's Stephen's favorite topic, and I love it because if you weren't aware that you could help your licensee and you were up for it, you were missing out. But yeah, if you're their only avenue to promote the product, you should be really worried. You shouldn't
Well,
be
maybe,
licensing to that
yeah,
company.
you probably picked the wrong
Well, and
company.
that's not always obvious either, Andrew. I had a similar instance where I got into that. Everything looked great. They looked like they were into certain retailers that I thought were going to be great. And then as soon as I licensed, the dynamic changed. And like I said, they put a sales rep on it that was not ideal for the job. That's where my concerns came in. That's where minimum guarantees can help save you. There's certain clauses in there that are really there for a reason. You don't want to be the only person out there pushing that. You want them to at the very least, match your own enthusiasm for your product. You
I'll give
you
you
can really do
I'll,
yourself harm by doing that.
I'll give you another example. When I wrote my first book, One Simple Idea, I was scared it wasn't going to do well. And I think we're all scared when we have a product that won't do well. So I followed Tim Ferriss' advice and I promoted it in such a way that if you bought the book, you got this, you got that, and we sold a couple thousand books before it even launched. And by doing that, we landed on the table of Barnes and Noble when you walked in. And we did stuff that got press, but it was that extra effort. You guys, I have to tell you, if you want to give all your opportunity chances to a company, you can do that. But if you want to hedge your bets a little bit, help them. It won't hurt.
Yeah.
But don't, like I said, I think you have more influence than you know today. And I think that's changed. I think there's a time where they probably didn't want the help. Now I think they're going to welcome the help. Now we have a member, Michael, that has the product, the new product. What is it called? The Hang Hero now. Andrew, you got in the back there somewhere. And he's so good at it. When they do trade shows, they have him come out to do the pitch on the trade shows. And when he does the YouTube videos, he's so good at it. They let him do all of it now.
This is the prior version. It was called the Push and Hang. He relicensed it to another company. And yeah, he's Steven and I see him at every Dana too. I
Mm-hmm.
think we see him at the trade show. Company likes him so much they invite him to the trade show so he can pitch people walking by the booth. The other salespeople are pitching the other products and he just pitches his product. Yeah, that's a good
He's
example.
also on QVC. When he goes on QVC, he's pitching it there.
Yeah, yeah. It's for hanging pictures, by the way. Like it levels it and then it pushes the nail. You push this and then it pushes the nail
He,
right into the wall. It's
he
pretty cool.
wasn't going to leave it to chance. You know
Yeah.
who else? You've heard the story about Pictionary, right? Everybody knows the story about Pictionary. Rob Angel. He
Why don't you
licensed,
tell?
he licensed it to a company. It was a big hit. Even though he licensed it, he still went out to promote it everywhere. He didn't leave it for chance. And that just tells you sometimes we all need a little help, especially the companies today. I think companies today, I think they're a little, I think they're stretched. I think they're a little overworked today. I do. And I'll tell you, they're going to welcome anything you can do to help them. And even if you were to get on media, if you don't want to get on media, tell them to get on media. They'll love you even more. So it's not that you have to do it, but you're opening doors for them to do it. And they
Yeah,
look at you very differently. Yeah.
and some of you may want to do it for a long period of time. Some of you may be up for it to help kickstart it, to make sure that the company's still excited about it and it's getting some sales. And you're like, I don't want to be doing this for the next 2 or 3 years. Others like, I'll do this forever. This is fun. But another way is think, hey, can I help them kickstart it? Can I get it going? Can I get the sales team excited? Can we send, could my appearance be then sent to the sales team so they're excited about it? And they're pushing it a little bit more to some retailers. So it's not just the pure sales or it's on
Yeah,
one
let
YouTube
me show you
show.
this too. To get it on the cover of a magazine when I launched that product, the company, my licensee didn't do this. I did it. They weren't going to contact the company and send them a sample. That's my photograph too. I even took the photograph, wrote the story, and contacted the editor. They weren't going to do it. They're too busy. And I'll tell you, it worked so well that I did it repeatedly with other magazines. So I guess what I'm saying is you'd be surprised how much you can do and how much they're not going to do because they have so much things to do.
Was that phrase, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take?
Yeah. Yeah. There's even contests. There's all these contests, and I'll show you this here.
Let's turn the camera. We want to see what's on all these shelves. I've been wondering that forever. Like, what's the rest of the room? We want to see all this
Hey, I don't show all my secrets here.
product.
I've seen them. I've seen them.
Dana's got the scoop on
There's one
everything.
shelf I never show. Those are my awards.
And
Yeah.
Pat,
I never show that shelf. But these two Edison Awards, these were won in New York City, black tie limo. And I won these two awards, two Edison Awards, along with Coca-Cola, Nike, and Apple one night. Yeah. And The company didn't do it. I did it. I sent it, applied for it, and I'll tell you, that night, the company was there taking pictures. But did they have enough time to submit a product for an award ceremony? No, they didn't do it. I did it. So I do think you can do a lot, and I think you could make things happen, right? And I think you could add value. And I think don't wait for a company to do everything. Count on them for distribution. Count on them for manufacturing. Count on them for some of the stuff that they're really good at, but don't count on them for marketing. I don't think these companies are very good at it myself.
I
Some
think
of
some can. I feel bad. I'm not even talking. Did y'all forget about me or whatever? I mean,
No,
hey,
you can
I
speak up
want to
whenever,
share
man.
though.
Barge in there, Dana. Just
I
barge.
know, I know. I tried to a couple of times. I'm trying to be nice. So when my product, the hanging shower caddy, finally hit the market, I ran to the newspaper. Look what I did. Look how they jumped all over it. I got in the kind of local section, half page, above the fold, colored picture of me holding my shower caddy, and this whole story about the whole journey of inventing and finally getting it to market. And I talked all about licensing. And then from there, I called the local radio station and I got on the radio. And it's funny because the radio station, every once in a while, if they do a morning show local, and if they have somebody that doesn't show up, they'll just call me and I can, be there in 20 minutes. And I said, I just got there. It's like, what do you want to talk about? And they said, let's talk about inventing because that's so interesting because everybody loves it. And I talked about how, they just started asking questions and the audience is, typing in questions. And so I've been on the news. I called the local news up in the next town over in Hagerstown, Maryland, and said, hey, you want to do a story on me? I just got this product out. It's Inventors Month or Inventors Day or whatever coming up. And they came down with their cameras and everything and microphone and did a little short little thing. It was only, 30 seconds or whatever. But from that, then I've gotten, I've been in books about, there's a book called the 7% or something, like, because it's about all women inventors, and I've been written about in that book. I've been in a couple other books. I've been in magazines, and people, once you start getting out there, other people will see this and they just want to call because and I have a really good, story, homeless to inventor type thing, and but when my product went to market, what I did was I posted it on my Facebook page so all my friends and family could see it, and that was fantastic. And I always put a link to the Amazon. Always, every time I posted it, there was a link to the Amazon page where they could buy it. When I hit Walmart, it was walmart.com. But when I posted about that. When I got 500 five-star reviews, I posted about that. When I got 800 five-star reviews, I posted about that. When I got 1,000, I posted about that. And it's just about being out there in the world. A lot of LinkedIn little videos that I would do. Now, my licensee was not good at marketing either. There was a small company. They were not good. And I can remember going to them. I had through working at, through InventRight and well, this is way before I worked for InventRight. I got a contact in the Container Store. I don't know if we have these big container stores out here, perfect for and I called the company and I said, do you want me to pitch this product to the buyer? And she was a buyer at the container store. And they said, no. I should have done it anyway. I should have done it anyway, but they said no. They had their marketing people and they were going to do it. And when I used to look at all the products they sold on their website, from what I could see, mine was the number 2 product that had the most 4 and 5-star reviews. And I like to kind of think that I had a little piece of by getting it out there the best I could, to try to drive sales. And I'm sure my licensee did not mind that at all.
Yeah, I think they're so busy today that to think that they're going to do some things that you can do, I just don't know if they're going to be that helpful. The biggest complaint I hear is that the licensee is not doing enough. Yeah. So take care of it yourself. You can do it. Have fun
Yeah,
with
I
it.
think
Find your voice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think another thing that I did, and I do this with other InventRight members who license their products, I did it. I was going to a baby shower. Well, whose products am I going to buy for the baby shower? I'm going to buy other InventRight members and other inventors that I know. And I actually did that on, pulling it out of the box. Look at what I bought for the baby. And I'm promoting, we're helping each other, promoting other other inventors because we've got to band together and help each other for sure.
Okay, so thank you, Dana. So we got a question. This is another one from YouTube. We got some coming in from LinkedIn and Facebook as well. So UBG Creation said, should you wait until you get a product out there to start really posting and telling your story, or is there a way to do that beforehand? Is
Let
somebody
me
sharing their?
share a screen.
That's okay. I'll take it away. Can you guys stop? Can you stop that, please? Whoever's doing that. Let's see. Host only. It says host only. Robert, it's okay. Robert, stop sharing your screen. Anyway, I'm gonna finish sharing your screen. We'll close the whiteboard. Do you want to continue?
I think you should do it way earlier than when your product launches. Yeah. I wouldn't start once your products hit the store shelf. I would start earlier. Build relationships, figure out what editors you want to reach out to. If there's some awards, find out who's doing awards, find out about trade shows. Look out way ahead, build relationships with everybody, be out there, be positive, be part of the conversation, do it way ahead before your product launches. Yeah.
So sorry, I got distracted there. So, okay, you answered the question. I was trying to fix the screen sharing. Robert, I see you there, man. Stop that. Why are you drawing on the screen? Was it not you? It's somebody typed Robert. Maybe somebody did it. Somebody else did it and wrote Robert. Okay, that's hilarious. No worries, it doesn't matter.
Oh.
Um, yeah, and when you're licensing, you want to privately show it to companies, make them feel special. Don't throw it up out there everywhere. I mean, if you're already venturing it, that's one thing, but be careful about that. So that is something we should talk about, which we just did. You know, don't just go showing it to everybody because we're talking about promoting it. Well, you just have a provisional pending. You don't have a license done. I've seen some inventors do this. Like they'll want to promote their product. They don't have a single unit to sell. They haven't licensed it. They're not ready to sell it. That doesn't really make a lot of sense, folks.
Too early.
Yeah, it's just too
Yeah.
early. And sorry, Steve, if you covered that. I was trying to fix the screen
No, I
share
think what you're
problem.
saying though too, media is going to write about it maybe once or twice. So if you get the media exposure, but there's no way to buy it,
Yeah.
I think you're a little early. So make sure, I mean, do some homework, and you can do a lot of this homework before it launches. So when it does launch, you've got all the relationships, the contacts, and know who you are, so you can just plug it in. But don't try to get it on any type of big media if you don't really have a product to purchase. I think you're a little too early.
Yeah, yeah. And somebody on YouTube commented about unboxing. They said unboxings, that's not, nobody's doing that anymore. And I agree. The unboxing where they take forever to open it up and then they just show you the product. Like no, nobody's doing that anymore. I agree. I guess some people are. I don't think they get many views. But like a couple things I'm into. I got a diesel truck. I got an RV. I watch videos about those things. I see people on the channels I like review products all the time and they're not getting paid for it. And they say that. And then somebody else in the Zoom chat mentioned, oh, but there's an Amazon link. There's an affiliate link. Yes. And they're honest about that. Oh, but if you want it, there's an affiliate link. So they're not sponsored. They're not getting a bunch of money for it, but they are making a few bucks on the Amazon affiliate link. And there's a lot of that. So you should definitely consider doing that. But look at how they do their reviews. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. If like everyone's positive, pretty safe. If 90% are negative, you might want to be a little bit careful, because then the company's getting all pissed off. You got some negative publicity for the product. Got to be careful about that. I think if you're smart about it, I wouldn't really be too worried about it. Stephen, we have just 4 minutes left here. Yeah, Brandon said, isn't disclosing your product bad? a bad idea? Yes, it can be. We just discussed that. So you got to be careful about that.
I think that we have to be creative. I mean, we're all inventors. We're creative people. Like Steven's really creative about, sending something in an envelope so it falls out when they open it up. They're going to remember him other than just a regular old letter. We have to be creative of how we help our licensee with getting the word out. That's about, not everybody's going to be, going to trade shows and demonstrating their product or going on to QVC. But any little bit that we can do, I think every company appreciates that. Why wouldn't they, unless they say we don't want you to do that for a reason, and they'll let you know if they don't want you to do it. I would think.
Yeah, I don't ask for permission.
Beg for forgiveness.
Pretty much.
Here's an easy one. Cynthia wrote in. She said, one you glossed over is tie it into Inventors Day. There is an Inventors Day every year. That's one any of you can use. You don't need to wait for that. But I think it's a great comment that she's making. Stephen, we've done that, right? For
Pretty much,
right? We've used Inventors Day to promote something or somebody. And then Michelle said, yeah, making things happen for yourself. I love it. So great, Michelle. Nice to see you, Michelle. All right, we gotta wrap up here. This is a very different topic that I don't think you hear a lot about with licensing. And yeah, we're always talking about, hey, licensing's great. You don't need to start a business. It's their money, it's their workers, it's their distribution, and it is all that. But you need to be educated that this is a possibility, and that's what we tried to do today.
even if you're venturing, doesn't matter. You got to create demand. You have to create awareness. And today you can. It's easier today to do it than it ever has been because you are the story. So find your story, find someone that's writing about it, wants to share your story with others, tap into it, and get your story out so people know who you are and they can share it because you are newsworthy. The companies that are manufacturing are not newsworthy. You're the story. So
You
take advantage of it.
all you guys, when you're here with us, you're just normal. But when you get outside these meetings, InventRight, you're something special. You're something intriguing to the rest of the world because not everybody has your creativity. So don't forget that. You're something special. Figure out what your story is, cater the story to the media outlet, and you're newsworthy. Whether you think you are or not, oh, I'm not that interesting. You are. You
And
really are.
there's something else, and there are so many little tiny radio stations around the country. They're always looking for stories. They're always looking for stories, and you can start to call them, just like the little radio station I have here. They do phone in interviews all the time.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
Yep.
We're gonna wrap it up. Call it a
Right.
day. Thank you, Chad. Thank you, Dana.
Later.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody, for the great
you. Thanks,
questions.
everybody.
Thanks for
Take,
coming.
take care. Keep inventing, everybody. Bye.
Bye.